Wonderful. All right, welcome, folks, to another episode of the Daniel Teacher's Experience. I'm sitting down by my good friend, Mr. Alex. Alex, how are you, brother? What's going on?
Good man. Good man. How's everything?
Things are well, buddy. Things are well. Things are
Yeah.
looking up. We're in 2021. 2020 just smacked everybody in the face sideways. I tried to stay positive, man, but man, that
Yeah.
was I'm very happy. I'm very happy that we're moving forward.
I mean, let's see what 2021 will bring us, right?
Sum up 2020 with one word. What's one word that you'd use to describe
2021 word.
2020? Mhm.
That's a really good question, and I would have to say unexpected. Not
That's a good
not
one.
not in bad ways, honestly. Also in good ways.
Ooh, interesting.
Not always in bad ways,
How so?
but in good ways as well.
Let me hear some good ones, man, because I can only hear negativity whenever I hear 2020.
Well, you know the concept like Felix culpa, right? Like, there's a good side to every fall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
I've heard of that.
whenever like you're sitting down alone, like there's a lot of reflecting going on, there's a lot of thinking going on, and obviously like there are good outcomes from that. It's not just being depressed at home, it's just also like reflecting and thinking about what you're doing with yourself, and a lot of productive thoughts can come out of that, I think.
So you see
So
some goodness in that, huh?
yeah, and also like you see some things about yourself that you haven't expected, right? And that's what I mean by unexpected too.
Mm.
Yeah.
So in this time of COVID, like these thoughts emerge that maybe you were never aware of consciously. You can reflect on
Mhm.
yourself, you can reflect on your life and your goals, and maybe in a sense they can be a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, right? That's what I mean. So I like the experience, honestly. It was painful, it was hard, but it was also good.
Good, man. Good. I'm very happy to
Yeah,
hear that, man, because it's so easy to
yeah,
just hear the negative. So to have someone who's
yeah.
talking about some of the positives are awesome. They're
No,
really,
honestly,
really
like even with like online schooling, like what online schooling teaches you is that like sitting at home, you shouldn't constantly have someone to tell you, oh, do this homework, do that assignment, do that lab. Like, it helps you take control yourself, and that pushes you to be and to have an independent mind for that, right? And not just for online courses but also for yourself as well.
I like it,
Yeah.
man. That's my next question. I was going to ask you just, what's your takeaways from online school? And, you're talking a little bit about it's good for discipline, right? You get to learn to be more accountable.
Yeah.
You're at
Yeah.
home, you have access to the fridge, maybe you have access to the Xbox. So it's that extra, no, man, I got to
Mm.
work hard. I got to attend. How easy is it to not attend a class? Be honest. You just don't
Very easy,
turn on your
honestly.
laptop.
Like honestly, I have slept through a class. I have to be honest about that, right? But again, um it's a weird experience, right? Like like honestly, especially with like as synchronous courses,
Mhm.
you feel like you're the only one learning. Like there's no one around you. Um, you feel like you're the only one in class. You feel like you're the only one doing assignments, the homework, everything. But again, it helps you stand on your feet. And having said that, as you know, online classes like they even give more homework, more assignments because they're not used to it, right? They're not used to maintaining that, so they might give you more assignments, more homework. So it was honestly, I did feel the pressure, but it went good, I think.
Good, man. Good. I'm happy to hear it. I
Yeah.
think it was definitely new for everybody, for students, for staff. One good thing I really liked about this is for someone who, and I don't mean this to come off as a complaint, but normally I take like a long bus ride, right? 45 minutes, close to an hour long from here
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
U Vic.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
imagine that, an hour there, an hour back, that's 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, right? That's 10
Hmm.
hours.
Yeah.
And imagine now I can just pull up a laptop, sign into Zoom. If my camera's not on, I can be in PJs eating cereal, so in that
Yeah.
sense, it's,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
anything, man, like there's one part of me that's like looking out. I don't know about you, but it's pouring right now. And I'm thinking like, man, like, could you imagine if like school was in session and I actually had to like go to school? I actually have to change clothes. I got
Yeah.
to get out the door,
Mm,
go on the bus. And
mm,
I know it sounds so like privileged and posh or whatever, man. But I think you get so used to just being comfortable you get used to a certain routine that it becomes harder to change it again. Like, oh, like I actually have to leave the house. Like this is ridiculous, man. It's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. But the weird thing is like whenever the moment that online schooling hit, what I started thinking about was what's gonna happen next. I wasn't thinking about, oh, what I'm gonna go through. I was thinking about, okay, what happens when, okay, online schooling is here, and when it's over, okay, what's gonna happen after that? Like
Mm.
that's like I am very curious about what's gonna happen. In my mind is more like a hybrid system where because I don't think things will ever go back to like normal as before.
Interesting. How so, man?
Because I mean, a lot of people are having difficulty with this lifestyle. Obviously, like we've both gone through that. But I also think we've also gotten used to it.
Hmm. For sure, man. For sure.
And I think when online schooling is over and like school and work goes back to normal, I don't think it will fully go to normal. I think they will establish a hybrid system where some people might go and some people might not. Um,
Mm.
and again, like with the vaccine coming in and everything, a lot of people who choose to not get vaccinated might want to stay in, or so I don't know. It's going to be very complicated, I think, because there will be a new kind of, there should be, I think, a new kind of system. Um, but how it's going to look like, I don't know.
Very
In my
interesting.
mind, it's hybrid. Like that's the best way I can put it.
Hybrid.
Everything is like half and half.
So if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, what you're saying is you believe that after this whole thing is said and done, there will actually be a popularity increase in online. So when they say, hey, everyone can return to school, there will be a lot of people that might opt to still do it online, or the universities
Yes,
will gotcha. The
not
folks will.
just universities, but also like work as well, right? A lot of people like staying home and
Mm-hmm.
working. Like as you said, some people don't like the commute
Yep.
because not everyone lives close by to where they work and to where they go to study, but a lot of people have to like travel hours and hours
Right.
um back and forth. So they might be like, oh hey, I'm just gonna stay home and do it. um because I don't think they can like force you to come to school because like I think there are people that will still feel like unsafe
Mm-hmm.
because again, as I said, I don't think everyone will choose not to be vaccinated. So like a lot of people are going to be like, okay, how am I going to know who's vaccinated or not? So I might as well stay home and with my own peace of mind do my thing.
Interesting. Alex, man, I really want to delve down this idea of university, but before we do, let's talk about this vaccine. What do you think about it? What are your thoughts?
um okay, I for one, I'm not going to take it.
Interesting. Why is that?
That's all I'm going to, it just, I'm not saying it's bad, I'm not saying it's good, it just sounds very fishy to me.
Hmm.
Everything about it sounds fishy and suspicious. It came out of nowhere so quick, and then and the funny thing is you can't actually sue vaccine companies. That's
Hmm.
like
Interesting.
that. And so I don't know, it's something that you really have to wait and see and not just like go into it. You have to like wait and see what happens and what the outcomes are, and then you have to make an informed decision because there's a lot of controversy going around it, and you really have to get your facts right before you choose to take it or not.
Very
Yeah,
interesting. Very
yeah.
interesting.
What about you? Are you what do you think about it?
Originally, man, I think we're saying the same thing, Alex. Like I think we're painting the same picture using different
Mm-hmm.
colors. And what I
Mm-hmm.
mean by that is, and to quote Joe Rogan here, you don't ever want to be the first person to do something necessarily. In this case, I don't want
Yeah.
to be the first person to take the vaccine, but
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to be the last person to take the vaccine either. So it's kind
That's a
of
good
sitting
point. Yeah.
back, like, are the doctors taking it? All right, is our prime minister taking it? Is he giving it to his family? Like, okay.
But again, as you know, beware of the media, my friend.
That's a very good point. That's a very
they
good point.
they you only see what they want you to see, right?
Yeah,
Um
yeah.
um I mean, like how Denzel Washington says, if you look at the news, you're misinformed. If you don't, you're uninformed. And it's really hard to
Well,
actually
hey,
be informed.
sorry to interrupt, Alex. Can you repeat that quote again?
Oh, Denzel Washington
Yeah, yeah.
said
Repeat
if
that
you
one again.
look, yeah, he said like if you read the newspaper,
Hmm.
you are misinformed. If
Uh-huh.
you don't read it, you are uninformed.
Very interesting. Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry, please
something like
continue.
that.
Please continue. I cut you off.
S- So no, I was just saying like it's really, really hard to actually be informed with like 100% accuracy, right? Because a lot of outlets
Of
will say
course.
different things. A lot of outlets will put it in different ways. It's all about perspective, as you know.
Totally, man. I think that's a really good point. I think sometimes
Yeah.
we underestimate how biased sources are, certain channels, depending on their political agenda or depending on how they're benefiting if they have certain sponsors. Which, oh man, I don't want to segue too much, but it's like, okay, my comment on the vaccine part was this. I feel like I don't know like anything, right? About like, I mean, I know very, very, very little about like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
vaccines and that stuff.
Yeah.
So if a medical professional, without sounding like a sheep, or if a bunch of them come out and say, hey, we've done science, we have the data to show you statistically, man, it makes sense, it does improve you, it
Mm,
does help you, I would lean towards taking it. With that being said,
mm,
I've also heard of a lot of people who say, Daniel, it usually takes years to make a vaccine. The fact that they made one like that is suspicious, it's weird. It's, some people have even said, hey, what if
mm.
people are only making this vaccine so they can profit off of you, right? What if it doesn't actually work that well? So
Not just
go
not
for it.
just like that, right? The other thing is this is actually the first adult vaccine that has ever come out. Like all the other vaccines usually take them at childhood or from childhood, but this one is actually the first vaccine that has come out for adults.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
S-
Very interesting.
So, I mean, as for I think that I mean
Mm,
I haven't heard of any other vaccine except the flu, but you take that like from childhood, the flu vaccine.
mm.
Um, but with this vaccine, I don't know. I'm just very skeptical about it. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's good. I'm just saying it can easily go in the wrong way because they will eventually use it to put tab to keep tabs on you.
Oh, interesting. Very
Yeah,
interesting.
like if you take it, um, they'll know. If you don't take it, they'll also know. And
Huh.
if let's say if you want to go to a restaurant, they might want like a card or some sort of proof that you've been
Mm,
vaccinated. And if not, then you can't go to the restaurant. So they might not directly want you, but indirectly they will urge you.
interesting.
I don't know. These are just thoughts, man. I'm not
Of course,
saying
of course. Hey,
I'm
that's all we do here.
I'm not saying it is like that. I'm not saying it's not like that. I'm just saying we just have to make an informed decision.
Let's play on this, right? Let's say it rolls out exactly the way you just said it does, right? The vaccine comes out, a lot of people take it, a lot of people don't. Then what you see end up happening is, let's say when you get the vaccine shot, you get this card, right? This card that
Hmm.
says this person hereby certified, by two witnesses that they did take the vaccine. And then the people who don't take the vaccine, they face discrimination in a sense. They're not allowed into restaurants, they're not allowed into, shops and things of that nature. How do you think how do you think that'll go? Like, do you think eventually like everyone will just come around to taking the vaccine, or how do you see? So for example, with masks, right, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of stores, or if not most stores, that say, hey, if you don't have a mask on, we won't even let you inside. And there have been people who play, it's discriminatory and this and that. What do you think would happen if we got to a place where there was a solid population of people who just refused to take the vaccine, and because of that they were not allowed to go to certain places or bars or restaurants? Like, do you think that probably break out to protests or something, right?
I don't know. It's interesting. Like they might even like open restaurants for unvaccinated people.
Like two different sections, like
Maybe.
smokers back in the day, like
Yeah.
smokers on this side. That'd be fascinating. Wow,
Yeah,
man.
but
Oh man.
like I don't know. Honestly, I it's really hard to tell, man. I don't know how they will encourage it, how they will enforce it. It all depends. We'll have to wait and see about that. Honestly, we can't. I really don't know.
Yeah, man, for sure. Let me.
Um,
Sorry, bro.
but
You go ahead.
let's be optimistic about it. Let's hope that everything will work out best, and the vaccine comes and people get healthy again. Those that aren't, yeah.
Fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Now, hey, Alex, man, we were talking about the news briefly. Where do you like? What can a person try to do to make sure that the news that they hear isn't super biased? Like, is there anything that you could do, or are you really just helpless? Or like, what kind of news do you follow, man? Like, are there any outlets that you prefer as opposed to others? Is it like I know for a lot of young people, Twitter is the main source of news. Like for mine, that's the big one, just the Twitter trending page. Like I
Hmm.
don't know if there's certain channels you watch, or if there's certain like companies that you follow specifically.
Well, the thing is, when you want to like figure out what's going on with the world, the best way to do it is look for patterns. And by that I mean
Mhm.
don't just look at one outlet, look at multiple outlets and
Mm.
try to draw connections and see how do the dots actually connect. And that way you might get you can put multiple perspectives into one, and basically putting all those perspectives into your own perspectives. Um, and you do that by going to different channels and trying to connect them together. And yeah,
I'm glad you said that, man. I think there's a
yeah,
big beauty when you like open up your eyes like to
yeah,
everything, as
yeah.
opposed to just looking at one article from one paper from one company, because I feel like that can really like just shell you in,
Mm,
and you
exactly
don't know if
right.
it's biased or not totally. And maybe, and this is the thing I was talking to my buddy Adrian with. Have you seen Social Dilemma by any chance, Alex?
No,
On Netflix?
I know what it is. Like, it's the documentary on Netflix.
Totally.
And
Yeah, yeah.
I know what it's about, but I haven't watched it.
I
But
mean,
I
I
know
would
exactly what it's
highly
about.
recommend it, man. It's
I know
very
exactly what it's
interesting.
about.
You
Yeah,
do?
yeah,
Okay, perfect.
yeah,
But
yeah.
but just to take a piece from that, it's talking about the algorithms. How Alex, it might know that you don't want to take the vaccine, right? Like maybe like if you do certain Google searches, and because of that, Google might be more likely to recommend you things like articles that will further enhance your belief, right? Or for example, if you're like a Donald Trump supporter, if you type in Donald Trump is if it's figured out, depending on the magazines you follow, I swear to
Yeah.
God, man, it'll say Donald Trump is a hero. Donald Trump is misrepresented. Donald Trump is
Mm,
smarter than you think he is, as opposed to if you're anti-Trump, right? So it'll show you what you want to see. And I was talking to my friend Adrian about this. It's like, man, I thought that with the emergence of the internet, we'd be open to more opinions, right? And we'd learn more and we'd learn more knowledge. But this indirect side effect is like you're just it shows you what you want to hear, right? Because it's afraid that if you hear something that you don't like, you might click off, right? You might leave the website, you might stay away. So I think that's one of the things that make it so hard to find unbiased news, right? Because it knows who you are, so it caters to you. And because of
yeah,
that, it's
yeah.
hard to kind of get the whole
Hmm.
picture.
Yeah, honestly, sometimes I think about like going off the grid. Everywhere.
Oh
go
man,
go live in a cabin somewhere in the woods.
yeah, you're not alone,
um,
man. You're not alone.
because again, like there's no way to control the algorithm, right? The algorithm is the one trying to control you, and the best thing to
Mhm.
do is knowing that it's trying to control you,
Yeah.
and 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 be aware of what it's doing with you. Um, there's not much you can do, I think.
You're right, man. It's really one of those where you just there's really nothing you can do.
Mm, that's at least that's what we think. Hopefully, maybe there's someone who knows what.
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
definitely. Speaking of technology, Alex, let's go back to the talks about universities and whatnot. I don't know about you, man, but whenever I want to learn something now, my go-to is YouTube. Like I can learn like learning a language if I want to learn how to fix a light in the ceiling, if I want to learn self-defense. Like YouTube has become like 10 years ago, right? 15 years ago. What was YouTube, right? It was a place of like silly videos and Justin Bieber maybe. But now YouTube is just this giant behemoth beast where you have people of all different backgrounds, teaching you skills and things on there. And I really do believe as, we're going to move forward in education and education, a lot of it is going to become more online, very much like what you were saying. you know.
Yeah.
I think, man, something like YouTube is going to come along, and I feel like that's where learning is going to transition to. I feel like campuses are going to be less and less, and I feel like, have you heard of masterclass, man?
Yeah.
Like like Gordon Ramsay
Yeah.
will teach
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
cooking. Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like those things will come along, and what'll happen is I don't know how this will work legally. Like, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. But I feel like there'll be like this union or whatever will come along, and they'll be like, hey, we've got our own master class. The master class of UVic. We'll teach you a bunch of these courses. Imagine like a YouTube playlist. There's 40 videos, and it could be on anything that you wanted, right? Philosophy, psychology, how to fix stuff, martial arts, whatever you wanted to. And it'd be, man, we're selling this online for, let's say, $2,000. And my own prediction, not based on any facts, like I haven't looked at anything, but my own gut feeling is that a lot of learning will turn into that. It will turn into going online and paying or subscribing for a plethora of videos that possibly come with text and like with context, which will help you understand something. And learning will turn into what it's like almost binging YouTube videos, man. Just back to back to back. That's what I think. What do you think about that?
um well, right now the education system is an institutionalized one,
Mm-hmm.
and where you actually go to a university with friends, with peers and professors teaching you. But with online learning coming up, it might lean towards what you were saying. However, I still think that education will not come out of the framework of the institutions. It will
Mm-hmm.
always remain in that institution. Why? Because that's how the system works.
Mm-hmm.
like let's say you have a masterclass certificate versus a university certificate, diploma,
Mm-hmm.
or degree, and you want to like get work or do something with it, and then like the person looking at that will be like, oh, okay, am I gonna trust the person who has binged videos, or am I gonna trust the person who has woke up on time, went to class, sat
Mm-hmm.
down, talked to profs, communicated with a whole bunch of different people,
Mm-hmm.
and came back home. So education is not just education. Like learning something is not just learning something. Learning something depends on how you learn it. Like when you are going to university, you're learning it with friends, with profs, with all these other groups of people, and that requires skill. But sitting home alone watching YouTube, that really doesn't require that much. I mean, you can learn, not that you can't. It's just very easy. And I'm only saying this because that's how people might look at it when you want to use that degree or certificate. That's what I think.
Very interesting. Now, what if like,
Yeah,
because I get what you mean. I get what you mean. So you're saying there's something special, not just in the learning, but like in going there itself, like being there, being on campus, being with people, going to office hours.
yeah. The only way that like what you said would like work in the system.
Mm-hmm.
When referring in the system, like I mean like society
Of
and,
course, of
and and
course.
how things work, like resumes, degrees, that kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. The only way that will work is for the whole educational system to fully shift in that direction. Like the masterclass site becomes a university,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
YouTube
That makes
becomes a
sense.
university.
Mm-hmm.
um you show them a certificate of YouTube, oh, he's come from YouTube.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, I get what you mean. But no, no, let's
um
play on this idea though. You're right. Let's
so
say YouTube does become a university. Would it have
yeah.
the same impact
um
then?
well, here's the thing, it depends on what kind of learning we will value then. Right
Mm,
now we're learning in an institutionalized setting. It's not the Socratic way. The Socratic way where you learn independently, and like by yourself and explore your ideas by yourself is not that popular right now. I mean, in the
mm.
system. But if it does become popular in the system, and if it is accepted that way, then it might work.
Interesting.
but again, since we're talking in the framework of the system, like everything is
Mhm.
different in that framework, right? Like if you're talking outside of it, yeah, then
Right.
things would be different.
Hmm. I see.
Yeah.
Alex, what would you say is the most valuable thing that you've learned from being a student?
Exploring yourself. It's not it's not it's not just learning things, it's exploring yourself, learning yourself. I think that's the most valuable thing you can learn. Like, and you can learn that why? Because you go and see different people, you hear different things, they teach you different things, and then you see which idea, which class, which course um resonates with you, and then little by little you explore elements of yourself, and then have a better idea of who you are. I think that's the most valuable thing you can get out of school. Besides that, again, you can learn anything by yourself, right?
Yeah, 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 totally. That's very interesting. So you're saying there's a lot of self-discovery which comes from attending these schools because you kind of
Mhm.
figure out, what classes you like, what resonates with you, what you're passionate in. You talk to other people, people who
Yeah.
think differently, and you end up learning a
Hmm.
lot about yourself.
Yeah, that's
Very
exactly what it
fascinating. Very fascinating. That's so cool, man. That is so cool.
is. Yeah, because again, but again, that's my perspective. I mean, someone else might learn something different, right?
Mhm.
Something someone else might be looking for something else in a university, but that's what I'm looking for,
Very
just to
cool,
like
man.
try to see who I am. Um, what about you? Like, what do you want to get out of university?
Man, I mean, there's a lot. I think like the
Hello.
hello, hello, testing.
Okay. Yeah.
Understood. Okay, sweet. So I would say, man, one mentality that I have
Yeah.
with respects to school is just being like a sponge, man. Just trying to acquire as much knowledge I can, about as many different theories and hypotheses, and
Hmm.
taking them and then trying to turn them into practical things, right? Things that you could do today or tomorrow, ways that you could help better yourself and help better society. Obviously, being in psychology, it's that's like the world, right? You listen to a theory, you learn about how that theory is used in practice, then you look at the people, right, the mental health practitioners right now, and you just try to learn as much as you can. What did this guy say? What was Freud's perspective? What was Carl Jung's perspective? And I think it's just learning, man, putting as much knowledge into here as possible. And on the plus side, also acquiring lots of discipline, man. Like there's something about writing a paper which teaches you, hey, don't write it all in one night, right? Start 10 days in advance. Do your research, do a little bit a
Yeah.
day. Time management, right? You got to be organized, right? When is
Hmm.
this due? When is that due? I got to be on top of everything. It gets your brain in this habit of juggling different things, right? Different things that are coming up, different things that you got to do. And it's also good for dealing with stress, I would argue, man. Like to help you not get overwhelmed. It puts you in. I think a test is a very good thing. I think it's good to have this person in a position where they have a time limit and they have to write concisely, articulately, or do whatever they have to do. Because I feel like believe it or not, I know a lot of people hate tests, man,
Yeah.
but I feel like there's a
Yeah. Yeah.
real
Yeah.
positive to being in a stressful environment with a time pressure. I feel like you learn something from it, or it makes you better in a way. But what are your thoughts on that,
Yeah.
man? Or am I completely just BSing?
No, 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 no. Like, here's the thing: as long as they don't abuse that
Right, right.
against you,
Yeah, yeah.
um, like, like especially with online courses, man. Like my physics class,
Hmm.
you couldn't see the whole paper. Like you would see one question, you would answer that question and go to the next, and you had to say goodbye to that question.
Oh,
You could
yeah,
not
yeah,
go back.
yeah.
You could not see it again. You could not check that again.
Mm.
And that threw me off a lot. Like I believe like that's unfair because
Hmm.
like even with testing, you I think you should have the right to look over your answers, look over your questions, see how you've answered them, and then change them if you want. But not being able to do that in a time setting, especially, will that actually really throw me off because you don't know how much time you're going to be spending on that question, how much I'm going to be spending on the next question, because you have no idea what the next question is.
Mm.
So that was really hard for me. Like I really didn't like that. I even like emailed the prof saying, "Hey, like this isn't fair. How can
No,
I
man,
not
it's
do
tough.
my questions?" And then he said that, "Oh, the department doesn't allow me to change it."
Oh man.
So yeah, that's, I mean, as long as they don't do those kind of things,
Yeah, for sure.
as long as they give you like a fair time limit, fair number of questions, fair restrictions, then yes, I would totally agree with you. But if not,
Mm.
then no.
Yeah, man, that sounds tough, dude. Not being able to check your questions.
Yeah, like how are you gonna know if you like spent too much time or too little time on a question if you don't know what the next one is, right?
You're absolutely right, man. How vital are like personalities of a prof in respects to how they teach? Like how
Um,
impactful are they?
that depends on who you are.
Ooh,
That depends
how
on
so?
like, it depends on what type of person you are, right? Like someone might resonate with the prof really well and
Hmm,
someone else might not. And
gotcha.
that's because they're different people. And depending on that, the prof will impact your personality and your learning differently.
Mm,
Like let's say there's a prof who is like just as thinks just like you do,
mhm,
and you totally agree with their mindset, with what they're saying. Well, that prof will be naturally and organically very impactful for you.
mm.
But if not, if you don't like where they're coming from in terms of mindset, or if you just don't agree with them, then it might be tricky to learn from them.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense, man. I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with
Yeah.
that. I've definitely had profs where I'm like, yo, this guy's amazing. And then my friend takes him and he's like, ah, like I really didn't see it, and vice versa.
Like remember Paulson?
I don't think I took him. I think I got to skip that one, but you guys told me about him. You guys
My
told me
God,
about him.
Paulson was amazing. He had like so many like Spotify playlists that he would just play while he's teaching,
That's
and like
sick.
I
That's
was
so
like
awesome.
so, no, it wasn't, like it was very distracting to me.
Oh
Like
no! It wasn't chill R&B. It wasn't like
not like lots of old school stuff that I
Oh,
didn't
gotcha,
hear about.
gotcha.
And it was weird.
Yeah. Oh man. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, man. Their
Yeah,
personalities really influence a job, like how someone carries out a job. Like whether
totally.
you're a
That-
teacher, whether you're a bus driver, how
It's
lenient
probably the
you are,
most
how
important
strict you
thing.
are. Oh, for sure, man, for sure.
Mm,
Not to mention like the people, the higher ups, right? People who work in the government, how lenient they are, right? With certain things. Not to mention police officers, like how caring you are to give someone a ticket. Like, do you really think everyone like it's black and white? I don't think so, man. I really think some people, if they're in a better mood and they have more forgiving personalities, they might be more forgiving to give a ticket. Whereas some
yeah.
people are probably more strict. Nope, like this is what happened. You went, 5 kilometers over, like boom, here's a ticket, $250.
Have you ever gotten a ticket?
No, my friend, I'm lucky. I have not. I have not. Hopefully, we'll keep
No.
it that way.
Okay,
We'll
that's
keep it
really
that way.
good. Yeah, let's keep it that way.
Yeah, man. Yeah, how about yourself? You once or twice?
No, 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 never, never.
No.
Thankfully. No, no, no.
Okay. Good, man. Good for you.
Not at all. No.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Not running any red lights, huh? Let me ask you
Try
this
not to.
question. Let me ask you this question. It's 4 a.m. You're by yourself. You're driving. You get to a
Yeah.
four-way intersection.
Mm,
Your light's
mm,
red, but there's literally
hmm.
no one around. It's
Yeah.
pitch black. It's silent. Do you run the red light?
No,
Why not?
I just don't. I don't know. I just don't.
There's no one
I
there.
mean,
No one would see you. There's no cameras either.
I don't know. I just like. I mean, I think we've been like conditioned. Like even
Mm.
unconsciously, man. Sometimes you're like, you don't actively register that you're actually staying behind the red light, and then
Gotcha.
once you're like conscious, but oh, like this is a red light and I'm staying. Oh, great. um, I have never like done that. No, I have always stayed behind the red light.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's a question that I was once asked, and just the basis of that question is, it's really wants to
Oh,
emphasize the importance of being in a society and following certain rules, right? Because when we live in the society, we follow certain rules, right? We stand in
hmm,
line. We want to pay something. We agree that we have to give something in exchange for something, and one
hmm.
of the rules are that we don't drive through red lights.
Obedience.
Exactly, my friend. Excellent. So that's a question that I was asked with respect to philosophy, right? They said, well, what if it's night and again, there's no one there and no one would ever know, would you drive that red light? And I have talked to a few people and they say, yeah, like if there's no one there to catch me and there wouldn't be any repercussions, sure. And you could arguably, I've also used that question. I've asked someone with respects to stealing, you could use it there too, or doing other things where, how obedient are we? Like, are people to person? And from my own experiences, when I've just talked to friends and whatnot, the majority of them are overwhelmingly majority. They are. They wait at the red light. They wouldn't steal even if they would never get caught. So it's interesting. It's
Well,
interesting
there's a thing about obedience. Sometimes it's not worth it to not be obedient.
Ooh, how so? Give me an example.
You know
Or
what I
just like
mean? Like,
repercussions, just like getting in jail or like getting a ticket and things of that nature.
uh, I mean, like, would you really want to go through the hassle of paying a ticket
No,
just for a red light?
no, I would not.
No, right?
Mhm.
So, I don't think, because like traffic rules and obedience, that's a totally different thing. But
Mhm.
something else, when you're talking mentally, maybe even spiritually, ideally,
Mhm.
emotionally, yes, I agree that you should have your own thing, do your own thing without like caring about what people think.
Mhm.
But I mean, I don't think anyone would like to get a ticket.
No, I would agree, man. I would agree. I think most people can weigh the
It's
pros and
just a it's
cons.
just a red light. It's just a red light.
You're right, man. You're right.
It's just a red light, right?
You're totally right. You're
I'm
totally
I'm
right.
actually like I'm actually like terrified of just being able, like someone following me, like a cop car following me. Like I'm actually like terrified of that.
Really? Why is that?
I don't know. I honestly don't. They just stress me out.
Now, is that anyone following you or specifically a cop?
No, no, just cop cars. Like
Interesting.
I know what that is. Because I'm a person who doubts myself and is very critical of himself.
Mm.
And when, let's say, like a cop car is following me, and on all of a sudden the sirens go off, like all of a sudden I feel like I've done something wrong.
You feel like it's you, huh?
Yeah, whereas I haven't,
Ah,
right? It's
interesting.
and that brings some level of panic to me unconsciously.
Interesting. Very interesting. Man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say there's definitely a feeling, if there's like a cop car beside you or something or behind you, but not the way that you're saying it. I feel like yours, you sound like you're quite critical of yourself, man.
Yeah.
You're quite
that I
critical.
am. That I am. And
Interesting.
when that's something, and that's why I don't like pass red lights, right? Because what if
Mhm.
there's one right in the corner?
You're right, man. You're right. You're right.
Yeah. But
Interesting.
but but I have passed red lights by accident. I have to say that.
Right. Bro, it happens, right? Whatever. But interesting. Very interesting. Now, what kind of an impact do you think that has on you? Like the way that you look at life and the way that like, you behave, having
Being
that voice,
critical of
just
myself,
Mhm.
well, in good ways and bad ways.
How so, my friend?
Um,
Explain it.
well, bad ways is when you overthink about who you are and keep questioning yourself about, oh, am I doing things right? Am I doing things
Mm.
wrong? But good ways, is because you always have something to improve on. And if someone's not critical of themselves to some extent, um, they might not see the urge to improve for themselves. There should always be like a small level of being critical about yourself, but not as much as I am critical about myself, but just a very small amount to always have something to improve on.
I like that. I like that a lot. So just a
Yeah.
little bit, not so you overthink, but just so you're on your toes and you can improve and you can look forward, correct?
Yeah, because if you're not, then you're like, okay, I'm fine, I'm good, I'm
Mm.
doing everything right, and that might lead to a lot of pride, like unnecessary pride.
Mhm.
But if you have a small level of it, then it might be more productive.
Very interesting. Now, Alex, are you as critical of other people than you are of yourself? Like the
No,
critical,
no, I have very low expectations of people.
have you always been this way?
Yes.
Why is that?
um
What's your philosophy with having low expectations?
because the least you expect from everyone,
Mhm.
the less you might get the feeling that they will let you down.
Mm,
But and that might jeopardize relationships, friendships. um I'm not saying that you shouldn't expect anything, not at all. Like there is a varying amount of expectations from that friend to that friend, right? But again, they should be kept as minimal as possible, I think,
interesting.
just so you don't hurt the friendship or the relationship or whatever it is, right?
See, I've heard of both. I've heard in one sense, don't have expectations for people because that's how you get let down, right? You start
Mm,
expecting things from people without recognizing that, hey, man, this person totally thinks differently than you. They look at life differently. They might do something that for them is totally fine, but for you, it might make you upset. So don't hold expectations. On the other side, I've also heard, well, Daniel, what if you have a partner, man? You don't have expectations from your significant other that they don't, cheat on you, that they're trustworthy, so.
um the key is the balance, right?
Mm,
Trying to keep some level of, as I said, like there's a varying amount of expectations from that friend to that friend, but
of course.
again, the you shouldn't do anything that would hurt. I mean, depending on how much you value a friendship or relationship, like I would do anything not to jeopardize that if I value something a lot, right?
Hmm.
But a lot of people would, and that's because of their expectations. They're like, oh, like you're not doing this, then I'm out.
Oh,
um
I see.
and also it poses the less risk of seeing relationships as transactions. um
Mm.
like what I mean by that is a lot of people are like, oh, if he didn't or she didn't do this for me, then I'm not going to do that for him or her.
Hmm.
And when I said like you shouldn't expect much, I'm saying like you should be giving, knowing that you might not get much or anything in return, right? And you should do that for yourself, not for them.
That's
If that
beautiful, man.
makes sense.
That
If
makes
that makes
100%
sense.
sense. Yeah, hell yeah, man. You're
Yeah,
giving
yeah,
for the sake of giving, not so I'm going to give Alex this so Alex can owe me one and then he has to do this for me. I
yeah,
totally understand, man. I'm so happy
yeah.
to hear
And
that.
that's what I mean by expectations. Yeah,
Gotcha, gotcha.
yeah.
I understand now. Good, man. Good. That's awesome, Alex. That's awesome. Okay, give for the sake of
What do you
giving, man.
think? Do you agree with that, or
Oh,
do you have
100%, man.
anything to add?
100%.
Okay.
No, no, I think it's really, I think it's good. I think it's a good way to look at life. I think it's good to be balanced. I will say in the past, I've had expectations for people and they failed to meet them. And there are times when I have to sit back and go, man, like, was it them letting me down or was it wrong of me to put such high expectations for them in the beginning? Like why,
You know.
no, go
Sorry,
for
no,
it.
no. You can go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm
I was
sorry.
just gonna say that's a good one. I was just gonna say, why do I like if I give for the sake of giving, why do I
Hmm.
expect anything in return? Right? Because
Yeah,
if I'm
exactly.
truly giving for the sake of giving, if I say, hey, I'm selfless, I'm kind, I shouldn't be waiting there being like, okay, now you have to do this for me. It's like that kind of you have a what do they call it? That's a conflict of interest, you know? What were you gonna
Yeah.
say, Alex?
Oh, I was saying like I heard something like that from Tony Robbins.
Hmm.
You probably know him, right? Tony
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Robbins. He had like $23, and then he goes to a restaurant and he sees a little kid opening the door for his mother,
Oh,
and then he's like, "Oh, I really enjoyed that. Let me buy you your lunch." And then with the only $23 he has, he buys him lunch.
oh, that's sweet.
And then he goes back home, and then he like without any money, and then he walks back home, and then he's like he sees his friend sending him the money he owed him previously, like $1,000,
Whoa.
and that's when he realized, oh, like you have to give even if you don't have anything, because it will come back.
That's
So
beautiful, man. That's amazing.
that's a really valuable lesson I learned from him.
Oh man. Do you listen to
Yeah.
him a lot, Tony Robbins?
I've seen a couple of his shows, but not too
Mm,
much.
gotcha. Who
Not
are
too
some
much.
people you regularly listen to, man? For advice, motivation, just interesting guys to listen to, guys or gals?
Russell Brand.
Russell Brand. Russell Brand. I feel like I've heard his name.
Yeah,
Russell Brand.
I I like him a lot.
Interesting.
He talks to he's more on like the spiritual side of things.
Does he have long black hair, like down to his
Yeah,
shoulders?
yeah,
Yeah, I know he
yeah,
is. Yeah, he did some acting.
yeah,
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 yeah, cool. Interesting.
yeah,
What does
yeah,
he talk
exactly.
about? I've never heard one of his videos.
There was this one show that I liked the most.
Mhm.
It was when he had a podcast with Bruce Lipton.
Oh, interesting.
Um, and how they were talking about how like we're actually being like transmitted to this body, and like this is just like a screen. Like I really like those ideas, and that's why I like
Interesting.
watching him. Yeah,
Very interesting.
very
So
much.
talk to me about this a little bit. What is this that intrigues you? Because I don't know if I've ever heard this idea or this theory that you were saying about bodies and we're just a screen and this transmission. Like I'm a baby when it comes to that world. So just tell me the brief like cliff notes. What is that about?
Well, Bruce Lipton said that it's not the nucleus that's controlling the cell; it's the cell membrane because we are actively like adapting to the environment.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
apparently, the cell membrane has some receptors called like self receptors, where they identify the cell. They identify the self. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And he is saying that since we're always adapting to the environment, then who we are is because of that. And
Mm-hmm.
um, and then he says that these self receptors are are being transmitted signals to adapt the cell in a particular way, like constantly. And he says that like that comes like from beyond space and time. And so he says that, oh, we're just like a television set who is receiving transmission and then projecting it um to what we are.
Very interesting.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Barely, barely. I don't want to BS you, but like that time of like talking stuff, like I really try to be engaged, man. And I just don't want to come off as dumb.
No, no,
But
no, no,
sometimes
no,
like
no,
the
no, no.
nucleus, I was there with you, man. The membrane, everything, I get it. We adapt to the environment. And the moment you said it comes from space and time, I was like, whoa, like that's an area
Well,
I
it's
definitely want to look into more.
quantum physics.
Quantum physics, gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Anything that has physics
Yeah.
in it, I run the opposite way.
It, honestly, same.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But it's important though, man. Some studies are really, really important to know. Sometimes
Mm,
like I've run away from them as a child because I was a wuss, and I was like, ew, like chemistry or like oh physics. But like man, like there was this it was my friend of mine, Sahil, he was taking this Sahil this physics class, and I think for one they were just looking at like a Bruce Lee kick, and they were trying to look at like the velocity of a kick, and he's throwing it, and the different things that are involved, and how his leg lifts up from the ground, and so I think man, everything really has a beauty to it. You know, even if I don't like it, I can still appreciate it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
no,
even
of
like this
course.
like stupid like I shouldn't say stupid, even this essential stats class that I'm taking for psychology, right?
Yeah,
Psychology of
yeah,
statistics. Like the
yeah.
beginning it was like, oh man, I can't believe I got to take this course, but now it's like, you know, you appreciate it, you know, even if you don't like it, you understand its significance and how
I mean,
important
it's
it is
even
to know.
easier for you that way, right? It's easier for you
Oh,
when
of
you think like
course.
that.
Of
And then
course.
the more you try to resist it, the harder it is to study it.
100%, man. 100%.
Yeah.
Alex, my man. So just segueing away from all the studying, what do you like to do for fun? What do you like to do to get your mind off of like studying and work and all that stuff?
Driving.
Driving? You like driving a lot, huh?
I love just getting in the car and just like driving nowhere without any set destination, and like going up the island and just seeing the forest, the trees, the oceans. I mean, it's the perfect place to do that. I think Vancouver Island is the perfect place to do that. And with my music.
You play music?
No, 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 no. With like hearing my music,
Oh, gotcha, gotcha.
like
You listen to your own
playing it.
music. Cool,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah.
Interesting, man. Very interesting. I like that, man. I'm a guy who's very methodical, very organized. Everything has to have a plan and a destination. So I am in awe of your free spirit to just like, you know what, I'm just gonna get in the car and go wherever I'm gonna go.
Here's the dangerous thing about that.
Please.
If there's a difference between an explorer and a wanderer, right? Like if you're just wandering around doing nothing, that's very
Uh-huh.
different than exploring. And sometimes the line can get blurry for me. Like, okay, am I
Mm.
just exploring or am I just wandering around?
Interesting.
So that's the tricky part when it comes to people like me. So I try to have some sort of an anchor, um, to not take me away, because exploring can be dangerous as well, right? You might
Wh-
end up in the ocean doing like seeing nothing and then being
What,
lost.
what differentiates an explorer and a wanderer, in your opinion?
Having that anchor,
Oh, having that anchor. I see. I see.
yeah,
And
and
what is an anchor, for example? Like if we were to use like a practical example.
I think it depends from person to person.
Mm.
For me, is my anchor is not a set thing. I try to, like, when I feel lost, I try to write. I write a lot of poetry.
No way. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. And when I do that, like, I get rid of the the feelings that can take me away, and I try to like focus it. Use that
That's
to adjust my focus.
very
Yeah,
cool. Well, when did you get into poetry?
a long time ago, five
Yeah.
years. Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
5 years. Man, that's
yeah.
beautiful, man. I
Mhm.
can't writing poetry. Goodness, like, is there a specific form of poetry that you do, or is it no, just
No, no,
everything?
no, no. Anything.
Anything. Very cool, man. Very cool.
Just to like clear my thoughts, right? Just to
That's awesome,
anchor
man.
myself
Good for
back
you.
into the ground, and realize that these are abstract ideas that um are really beneficial, right? To give you perspective, and when
Mhm.
you put that down into paper, it gives you perspective and focus.
That's
But if you
amazing.
don't, then you can get lost in them,
Oh, you're right.
and
You're
that's
right.
that. Then you end up wandering around. I think that's. I mean, that's just for me, right? Depends on who you are and what you do and
Definitely.
what
Good,
your
man. Good.
personality is.
So you
Yeah.
have something to keep you grounded, huh? To just clear
Hmm.
all your thoughts and
Exactly.
just keep you going straight. Good for you, man. That's important. I think everybody should have
Yeah.
something like that, whatever it may
Yeah.
be. Good, man. Good. Alex, my friend, what is
Exactly.
one skill or hobby or something in that nature that you would like to pick up in this year of 2021, or learn something new or become better at something?
Um. That's a really hard question for me.
Take your time.
That's a really, as I said, I'm an explorer, so I still have to explore what I
Mhm.
want to learn
Very cool, man. Very cool. Very
or
cool.
what I want to do. Because I don't like to. There's a limit for me when it comes to like setting a plan. I like setting a
Mm-hmm.
plan, but like not from the beginning. I like to first evaluate myself and my thoughts, and then set a goal before actually setting the goal, and then doing that.
Interesting. That makes sense. That would make
And
total sense.
for now, since the year is just beginning, I'm just trying to be a little blissful and a
Cool,
little
man.
hopeful about uh, how 2021 will be like, and just take my time.
Good, man. Good. That's a good way to be.
What about yourself? What about yourself?
Me, my man, there's one thing that I really seek to become more of. One thing that I seek to really delve into, and that, my friend, is calmness. Calmness, just
Calmness.
peace,
Hmm.
quiet. I
Hmm.
might go out fishing. It's the reason I started reading books because I wanted to be calm. I love being energetic and enthusiastic, but sometimes I feel like all this energy and running around. I would really do well just sitting down. Like if I ever went to therapy, my therapist would be like, "All right, you got to do 2 hours of watching Netflix, 1 hour of fishing, and 1 hour of staring at a wall." Like I need to just relax, or like even like
Yeah.
that trip, like getting in a car, driving out. Like I would argue that's also calm because you're around nature, you're away from the likes and the following, of social media and from your tasks from work and school. Just go out, man. Be in the forest, be by the water. Just calm, relax. There's no one chasing you. That is one thing I really want to gear myself towards.
I would agree with that. Yeah, that's really nice.
You know.
Um, Again, I think you're the type of person who always wants to do everything right and by the rules and by the book.
Mhm.
And um, I think you should, maybe this is just some friendly advice. Maybe you should just keep it calm. just let it happen, let it sink in
I
for
need more
itself.
people like you around me, Alex. Exactly. I need more people like you because it's
Yeah,
good. It's good to have different mindsets because I feel like you get the best from each other. You learn from one another,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
think to
yeah, yeah.
surround myself with people who have that sort of a mentality is a very good idea.
Thank you. Um, for for me, you as well.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Oh
Yeah,
man,
yeah,
that sounds amazing, man. Just wandering into the forest. Just do you know how many people would just love to do that, Alex? Like just go out, right? When they without all these obligations, right? Whether they have people that they have to care for, or let's say a work that's just nonstop. I feel like it's so important for everyone to just leave. I'm not saying we should all just go live in a cabin for good, but
yeah.
it's they can have a plethora of benefits.
The funny thing is, when you don't have a destination, you end up seeing things that you've never seen before,
Wow, I
right?
bet, man. I bet.
You end up seeing things you don't expect, and they turn out to amaze you even more.
Mm.
Instead of instead of knowing where you're ending up and what you're gonna see.
That's such a
Man, I've discovered so many places on the island, like by just like wandering around.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
amazing, man. That's amazing.
yeah, yeah,
That's so good. I constantly have this voice that's like, "Yo, you could be doing work right now. Like, get back to the desk. Another
yeah,
podcast,
yeah.
another thing." So to just, I look at you in awe, man. Like, I love your kind of carefree attitude. It's amazing.
I think everyone has that. Everyone has that like voice that keeps tells them, "Oh, go back home, be productive, do this, do
Mm-hmm.
that." Um, but when that happens, I tell myself, "Oh, I need this to be able to do that. If
That's
I
good.
don't, yeah, if I don't, the more like here's the thing, like you can overheat by working and working and working, but like if you take some time for yourself and see new things, and then you have a more fresh in mind, to do to do to do productive things.
That was so good. I need this in order to
Do
do
that.
that.
Yeah,
Did everybody just hear that? Like, did everybody just hear this magic that my man just threw down? The way he just dunked on us, like LeBron James in a final? Like, I know it sounds simple. I need to do this in order to do that, but oh my God, man. Like if people just listen to what you just said, like just let that sink in for a second. Like I know some people are looking at me like I'm crazy or thinking that, but I'm serious, Alex. Like I think a lot of life, man, is really simple. Simple doesn't mean easy, but I mean it's straightforward. So when you say something like
yeah,
"I need to do this in order to do that," that's a lot of life, is it not? I need to go to work so I can provide for my family. I need to go out on a hike so I can be in a good, energized mood to study for that test. I
yeah.
need to not cheat on my girlfriend so I can maintain our relationship. But I'm being serious. I'm being told no cap,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
I
yeah.
need to do this in order to do that. And a lot of people are like, duh. But here's the thing with you people who are saying, duh, that's common sense. Listen, I'm talking to you. Just because it's common sense doesn't mean you're doing it. It's common sense. I know it's common sense. But why have I never done it like that? And I feel like that one of the beauties of podcasts like this, Alex, is like I promise you, I've probably thought that before. But the way you just said it, like the way you said it specifically in our conversation, just smacked me in the face like McGregor jab in the left round. Like it just it connected, man. I'm like, oh, say it again. What was it? Say it again. What was the phrase? How did it go again?
Well, I just said I need this to do that.
Perfect. Exactly.
That's all I
Exactly.
said.
That's all he said. But that's
That's all
exactly
I
what I'm
said.
talking about. It's simple. I need to do this in order to do that. Listeners, what do you have to do in order to do what you want to do? Like that's what my man here is saying. If you figure that out, life gets really, really easy. I shouldn't say easy. Life gets more it gets brighter, man. You have an idea, you have a direction in life, you know where you're going. And unlike me, you won't feel guilty. You won't feel guilty about doing things. For example, next time I'm out on a walk or I'm playing video games, instead of feeling guilty and saying, "Oh, I could be studying right now," I'll say, "No, I'm doing this in order to
Do
do
that.
that." And with
Okay.
that, please go ahead.
There is a okay. You have to know your limits as well,
Never,
right?
never. Go
Right,
for it, buddy.
right. No, no, no. I mean, like if you're like, oh, I need to play Xbox so I can have a better and look
Uh,
if you know. So, okay, sorry. I need to play Xbox to be able to study.
Yes, sir.
And if you end up playing Xbox for like 6 hours and not studying, then that's dangerous, right?
Yeah. Then we
So
just
you
blame
need
it on
to.
Alex because he told us so.
Then everyone's gonna blame it on me. So
Oh
so
man.
it's important to also maintain the balance, right?
Of course.
To
Of
to
course.
to don't to not kid yourself and to be aware of what you're doing.
How much of life is balance, Alex? It's everything, isn't it?
You can never achieve true balance. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's never achievable.
Oh,
You're always on one side than the other.
interesting. What if you try really, really hard?
There is no balance when it comes to life, man. I mean, the balance should be the goal, but there's always something that's out of your control.
Mm. You'll never find that perfect,
I don't
like
think you can.
exactly. Interesting. Very interesting. Mm. Interesting, man. Very interesting.
Like when you mix salt and water, there's always one speck of salt left. It's never totally in equilibrium. There's always one little grain of salt that's not mixed.
Yeah, man. You're right. You're right.
Right?
There's always
Right?
is a little bit. You're
Yeah.
100% right, man. Interesting. Very interesting. Huh. Hey, Alex, man. I'm just gonna grab a little bit more tea. I'll be right back. Okay? Don't go anywhere.
That's all good. That's all good.
No, thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
One second. Oh, all right, good sir.
I'll be right with you. Just give me a second.
Of course, buddy.
Sorry.
Take your time. Go for it. Don't be. Don't be. Don't be. Welcome back. I got my
Hey
tea.
man. Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
man.
that looks amazing.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for tea, man.
Good
I
Persian tea.
drink probably 2 to 3 cups a day. I'm an addict. Hi, my name is Daniel, and everyone's like, "Hi, Daniel."
Uh,
Oh man. Oh man.
yeah. So, what else is new?
What else for me, my man? What else is new for me? Brother, I realize how much of an impact these podcasts have on my mental health. Like when I do podcasts,
Oh,
I feel really, really good. Like just talking to my friends and
oh,
stuff.
that's really good to hear, man. Honestly,
It's awesome, dude. And then I feel it when I don't do a
yeah.
podcast. Like if I ever like miss one or like I don't do one, or I miss two, like
Mm.
oh man, like I just feel like there's something missing in my life. You get into a routine and you get used to it, and you get used to talking to people and just listening and just different energies and yeah, man, I've
I'm
missed.
glad you have that. Yeah.
I'm happy too, man. It's really it's made my
Yeah.
world so much better, man. So much happier. Just having my friends on here and having
Mhm.
these discussions that we'd have, inevitably on the UVic campus in between classes. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
nothing new. It's been
No,
good, man.
it's. I like your podcast. They're really good.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Thank you. I'm excited, man. I think a
Yeah.
lot of friends and a lot of people our age, they're starting things, right? They're either starting to get into music, or they're starting their own podcasts, or it's like I am so unbelievably optimistic for the future, and for us, like I can't wait to see Alex, like what you're gonna be doing 5, 6 years from now.
No, I think we're right on that trigger point. We're just gonna like burst out with like talent and work and then like finally figure out what we're doing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. Everyone's gonna kind of fall into like their
Yeah.
set path and career and do their own thing and travel. And what do you mean, Alex? You moved to the United Kingdom? No way, bro. Like, I can't wait, man. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Is traveling a
That's
big
great.
thing for you, Alex? Like, would you really like to travel around, see the world?
Oh, I have.
You have?
Yeah, I've lived in like 4 different countries.
Really? Holy smokes! What are they? 4 is a lot,
uh,
man.
I've I lived in Dubai. I mean UAE, Canada, United States. Cyprus, and also Iran, as you know.
Oh man. No,
So
brother,
5. Yeah.
holy smokes, dude, five. Now out of all those, not to sound like a total dimwit, but what does UAE stand for?
United Arab Emirates.
Oh, okay, okay, that's
You,
what I thought.
that's where Dubai is. That's where I lived.
Gotcha. No, no,
Yeah.
that's crazy,
Yeah.
man. That's
Yeah.
wild. Wow. That's amazing. Can you believe that there's some people who've like never like left like their home country or even like their town? Like you just grow up in
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
village and you but 5 countries is a lot, man. Canada, America, Dubai, Iran, and there's one more. There was one more that you said.
Cyprus.
And
Cyprus.
Cyprus. Where's Cyprus located?
It's between Greece and Turkey.
Cyprus. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Wow,
I
that's so
was I was
fascinating.
very young, so I don't remember much, but I did live there for like 2 years, I think.
That's so cool, man. That's so cool. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, there's a good thing to staying, and there's also a good thing to traveling, and there's also bad things with both of them, right?
Mm,
The bad thing about moving around a lot is like you make friends, and then you have to leave them,
I
and
see.
then like, but the good thing about it is now you have friends everywhere.
Yeah, man, for sure. For sure.
But the bad thing is like you make connections, like you see them, like there's some emotional attachment between you and your friends, and then something happens, you have to leave or they leave,
Mm.
and that's the curse of being international.
Oh man.
Yeah. Whereas like if you live in one place like your whole life, like your friends, you've grown up together, you've lived together, you're like you've been with each other for like 10, 15 years. So yeah, sometimes I envy that.
Wow.
Yeah. But honestly, it's weird. Like you see so many different types of people, and you see how people think so much, like from all these places, and then it really broadens your perspective about how people are and how. Like I'm always very fascinated by it. Like, and at this point, like when I'm staying somewhere for too long, I feel uncomfortable. I feel like I have to move.
Wow, interesting. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
What would you say
Like
is one thing you've learned from every country that you've lived in, with exception of Cyprus, because you said you were probably too young to remember.
yeah, like one common thing.
Yeah.
Mm, I'd say like I need to think about this,
That's
man.
it. They can be uncommon too. They can be unique. You can be like, hey man, I
Yeah.
really felt this in America, but I didn't feel this at all in Dubai. Or there was something I had in Dubai, man, which Iran didn't have at all, or vice versa.
I've learned every like a little thing from all of them,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like tiny bits and
Of
pieces put
course.
together.
Of course.
And I like that international sense of things because you see how person A does this, and then you see how person B does that, and you're like, okay, I need to do something that's that has something from both, and then you keep advancing that, and then you do something that's bigger than all of it combined, and that's when you know you've done something right. I hope that makes sense. Like I'm saying, like you put bits and pieces together, and then they accumulate and accumulate and accumulate until you have something right there in your personality and in your mindset, in your psyche, that's that can't be penetrated by anything.
That's incredible, man. That's
Yeah,
incredible. No, 100%, man. It's these little, you get a little thing from Dubai, a little thing from America, a little thing from Canada, and they all add up. And you take the beauties and the strengths, and then when you put them together, you become something that you couldn't have been had you only lived in one country.
yeah, exactly. And then you add what you have to it as well, right?
Right. Of course. Of course.
Yeah,
Oh, that's amazing, man. That's amazing. And I really like what you said about relationships, dude, because I think a lot of people, it's just not that it's not talked about enough, but I feel like emotional attachment is huge, whether you want it to happen or sometimes it just happens unintentionally over time, right? You spend time with people, you see them a lot, you care for them, you wonder what they're doing, and then when they're not close to you anymore, at least physically, proximity wise, it's
yeah,
tough.
it is. It
Really tough.
honestly is. Like I live all by myself right now, like away from my parents,
Oh
away from my
wow.
entire family. Yeah, I've been living
Well, where are
by
your
myself
parents living right now?
back in Iran.
Oh, gotcha. And how long
Yeah,
have you been by yourself?
3 years.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's a
it's
long time, man.
and I like it. It's really good for me.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good.
Yeah, yeah.
That's so cool, dude.
Like it's to the point that when I like go back and visit home, I'm like, okay, when am I gonna go back?
Oh man, that's hilarious.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome, man, dude. I can't wait to live alone, dude. Living alone, I feel like there's two big milestones in a young man or woman's life. One of them I think is moving out, and one of them I
Mhm.
think is settling down with a partner. If I'm really generalizing for everybody,
Yeah,
because people
yeah.
have different goals. So that moving out one, man, like how old were you? So 3 years ago, are you 20 right now, or how old are you?
Yeah, I was 17 when I moved out.
You were 17 when you were. Damn, how was that, man? How was that? At 17 years old, when you were first living by yourself, did you feel like it was too early, or were you good, man?
I loved it. Like I
Yeah.
was
Oh man.
excited so much to do it. Like I'm like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm going to a new world.
Oh,
I'm gonna experience like something totally different, different. And then no, it was amazing. It still is. Like living by myself is amazing.
awesome, brother. Good. 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 Good.
Yeah,
Oh, that's so cool. And
because
then,
I need that mental space. I need that mental space for
of
myself.
course, and I'm
That's the thing,
assuming
right?
you must have learned a lot from yourself, Alex. Like being by yourself, with respects to discipline, with respects to setting routines, right? You go to sleep when you want to go to sleep. Like I'm sure you got to learn how to cook, right? How to make food for yourself, take care of
So
yourself.
most of my personality has developed like in that 3 years,
Wow.
because like it's like a big head start. Not a head
Mm,
start, but like a big burst of personality change at once.
good, man. Good.
Yeah.
Now we know that everyone's different, but
Yeah.
if there was a certain age to like move out by, like I know again, I can't generalize because people have different personalities, but would you recommend 17, man?
Here's the thing. There are people who do move out at 17, but then they come back. They can't
Mm,
take it anymore. If you want to move out, I don't think there's an age for it. It depends on who you are,
mm,
honestly. I can't put an age to it. I can't pinpoint an age, be like, okay, 17 is the age, 16 is the age. You never know. It depends on a lot of things. It depends on your relationship with your parents, depends on your relationship with yourself, with your friends, and who you are. And for me, I really need the mental space to think and to feel the things I feel, to think the things I think without anyone being around me to be influenced by it or to influence me.
mm,
And because of that, because I'm a big thinker, like I think too much, I feel too much,
mm.
and sometimes that can throw the people around me off, depending on the people around me.
Interesting.
Like when I go back home, when I'm like thinking, my mom keeps asking me, "Oh, is something wrong? Is something wrong?" I'm like, "No, nothing's wrong. I'm just doing my thing."
Yeah, yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Very interesting.
I'm always the quiet one when it's like there's a big
Mm.
gathering. Like I'm always the one who sits in the corner and observing and thinking, and um I don't talk much. I think you know
Very
that.
interesting.
You've seen me with other people as well.
Yeah, but like, look at you, man. We're here sitting here one on one. We've been talking for over an hour, and you're just
Yeah,
like you're just firing away. Like this is awesome. It's so cool that you do both, man. That's awesome.
thank you.
Very interesting.
Yeah. How about you? Are you living alone right now?
No, my man, I'm living at home currently, and I'm
You're
happy.
living
That
at home.
means
Yeah.
I don't have to pay rent, which is good.
Yeah, yeah,
But
that's
I
good.
think, man, like in all seriousness, I think a serious age to move out, I think is 11. I think at 11, you're a man
11.
now. You can go out, dude. Listen to me. At 10 years old, I I was a fine young man. I think at 11 years old, I'm just BSing you, dude. I'm just BSing you. Could you imagine? Jesus Christ.
I'm
At
like, what,
11 years
11?
old, how like what grade are you in 11, man? I don't know, but no, dude, no, not 11.
No,
Oh man, no, I'm
that's
just joking.
crazy.
I'm just joking. No, I think you're right, man. There's no age. There's no age.
Yeah.
It's different for people, but under the age of 14, I'd be very um I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if there's many people moving out like at the age of 13 or something, and being happy about it and just staying gone. But yeah, man,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Oh man, there's one thing I wanted to say. Oh, I was gonna say, Alex, I think there's some real underrated beauty in just listening and observing. I think
Yeah,
there really is. I think,
there
people
is.
have this beauty of this fantasy of, oh, you should, talk the loudest, you should be the one who talks the most, and blah blah. But there's something really, really, I don't know if powerful is the right word, but just from observing, just listening, right? Just look or just scan the room, and I feel like it doesn't get talked about nearly enough.
What do you think about it?
At first, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. A couple years ago, I was a little oblivious to it, right? I was like, oh,
Hmm.
you should just talk, you should say whatever you want, you should try to make everybody laugh and do all that, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But
Hmm.
I think if a person, again, I think it's balanced, right? I would not look too fondly on someone who always wants to talk and always wants to be the loudest in the room, and maybe I wouldn't want to be the one who's always silent and who never says anything. But I feel like we have to respect the importance of just being silent and observing. Not so much that we're in our own head and like we're not in the conversation, Like I'm somewhere else. So we're still engaged, but that doesn't mean you got to do all the yapping. Sometimes
No,
just listening is very, very good. Have you seen the show Vikings by any chance, Alex?
no.
Okay. Anyways,
I
this
it's on my list.
yeah, it's cool. If you like Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
you'll like it. There's this character, he's the main protagonist. And one thing that he does, whenever there's a big party, there's a big feast in like his house, you can never find him like in the middle. He's always like in the corner of the room. And it's so weird because he's like the king, or he's the Thane, he's the Jarl. So you'd think he'd be right in the center on his throne, but he's always in the corner of the room and he's just looking at his wife talking to someone or like his, right hand man talking to someone. He just observes and listen. And I think
Yeah.
that's one of those TV shows which really elevates the importance of just listening, like really,
Yeah.
and not like, because what people misunderstand by listening is, let's say I'm talking right now and Alex, you think, okay, I'm going to wait so Daniel finishes what he's saying so I can
Yeah.
tell him what I want to say. Like, no, no, no,
Hmm.
that's not listening. You
Oh,
can't
yeah.
do that because it means you weren't actually listening to me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
You're
I
just
think
waiting.
exactly. So I think, man, listening is really important, and I think it is criminally underrated. Like I feel like people like really look down on it as like, oh, what's wrong with you? Are you just shy or are you just blah blah blah? But it's not that, right? Or in my opinion, maybe it's like a hint, but it doesn't have to be like a bad thing. Like not everybody has to be, just a super talkative,
But here's the thing: not
listen.
everyone is silent for the same reason,
Talk to me about that.
right?
Keep going.
Like there's someone who is silent just to observe things,
Mhm.
but there's someone else who is just lost in his head,
Mm.
like just like lost in his head, wandering around his thoughts, like thinking something that is like, just like he's like lost. He's like
Yep.
not and
Yep.
not
I see.
not there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, definitely, man.
and
I know.
and the both happened. Like both of those happened to me. Like sometimes I'm
Mm.
just lost. I'm just gone. Like mentally, physically I'm there. Mentally, I'm not there. But so no, I'm not always silent for the same reason.
Mm.
Because like someone says something, and then I just think of that, and then there's like a chain of thoughts
I get what you
going
mean.
and going and going, and then I'm just out of that group all of a sudden.
Mm. I'm glad you distinguished that, man. That's important. That's important. I've
Yeah.
definitely been in both as well. I'm working on not being the second one, like just the absent-minded, because that one I'm not a big fan of, because I feel like I get disengaged from the audience, and
I
then
don't
I
think
get
there's
into
anything
this
wrong
like
with with
wormhole.
with with any of it.
Interesting. Okay, so you say either or, thumbs up.
Not either or, some depending on your situation, right?
How so, my friend? Give me an example.
Well, it's not always about like you're not rude per se to not say
Right,
anything,
right.
right? But sometimes you just want to take the time to think about what that person said, and then that leads to other things, and other things, and other things, and then yes, you are lost and you're not in that conversation, but
Mm.
you're still thinking about something related to what he said or she said.
Okay, I understand. I understand. I misunderstood at first. I thought you were talking more about just like overthinking, like thinking about
No,
it too much. But no, you're just talking about critically just evaluating something that relates to something else in the moment. If I
yeah,
understood you. Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. No,
yeah.
that makes sense. No, you're right, man. You're right. I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
Like let's say
Uh,
someone talks about trees, and then you're talking about, I don't know, um, water, and then or let's sorry, soil, and then you think about the elements of the soil, and then you think about the stuff in the soil, and then like you keep going and going and going, but you're still
Gotcha. Okay,
yeah.
man, that makes sense. I thought you were gonna do something like, so and so didn't say hi to me. Why did that happen? Oh, for my birthday, she didn't say happy
No, no,
birthday
no,
either.
no,
And
no,
then you just start spiraling into this like this long dark
no.
hole. Gotcha, man. Gotcha. All right, good.
Yeah,
Good. Gotta clear
yeah.
that up. Oh man, that makes sense. That makes sense. It's interesting how people's minds work, huh, Alec? Some people can just really go into thought, and other people it's just, I'm not gonna say like they don't think, but they definitely don't dive into things as much. Like philosophy. I'm not saying that they can't, but I've definitely met some people who will really just ask deep questions about life and just really sit there and just really think a lot. But I've
Yeah.
also met people who it's not something that they do. For I don't know if it's good or bad. It's just that's not them.
Maybe they don't want to deal with themselves.
That's interesting. That's an interesting point, man.
Right, a lot of us are just running from them, from ourselves, right, from our own thoughts, from our own ideas, and that's why might that might be one reason.
I could see that. They just don't want to open that door to start thinking
Yeah,
about certain things that they might.
and I think they're called escapists.
Oh, I
Like they
haven't heard
always want to like escape the moment,
of.
escape what they're thinking, escape what they're doing,
Hmm.
and a lot of people do that by alcohol, by unhealthy relationships.
Yeah, man, definitely. I wasn't
Yeah,
surprised at all that when COVID hit, it said that alcohol consumption went up
yeah,
and drug
yeah.
abuse consumption
Again,
went up.
escape, except as we said from the beginning, like escaping those self reflections and those, yeah,
Yeah, man, you're right.
just like be out of it and feel nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people wanted.
Yeah, it's very attractive. It's a very like imagine you're in a terrible place and you've got headaches. Let's say someone close to you passed away. To fantasize this idea of a pill or this liquid that you could take, excuse me, that will take all those bad feelings away in the moment. So I
Yeah,
can definitely understand why someone would gravitate to it. Obviously, when you take a step back and you look at right all the negative associations with that, right? It only lasts temporary. It's extremely expensive. It's terrible for your body. It's terrible for you mentally. But in that moment, if you're not thinking clearly, and if it's
yeah,
there in front of you, I can totally see why some people, it's really easy. It's really easy to get caught up.
mm,
And maybe your friends
exactly.
all do it, right? Maybe your friends all do it,
Mm,
and maybe that's how you guys bond every Sunday at Mike's house, right? You get there and then it turns to a habit. Next thing you know, man, you're 3 years into it, and it's like, damn, dude, it had its severe effect on your body, on your lungs, on your heart, on your brain.
yeah, exactly.
Way to be optimistic, huh, Daniel?
Yeah,
Oh man.
yeah. Honestly, Daniel, I think I have to go now because
Yeah,
have a good one. It
you're
was
very
great talking
welcome,
to
buddy.
you. It was
You
great
too,
talking.
brother.
Thank you so much for having me. Honestly, it was amazing. Yeah,
Of
thank
course,
you,
brother. Of course. Take
thank
care of
you.
yourself, Alex.
Yeah,
Take care.
take care, man.
Thanks,
Sorry, bye.
everybody. This has been another episode. Bye bye.